Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your burning question reading. This is a timeless reading. The question we're asking today is, what do I need to nurture? Now, most people know this. They know, they have a good idea of what they need to, but I thought this would be fun to put together to see where the energies would take us. And honestly, the readings are turning out to be pretty brilliant. So I'm excited to see what Spirit has to say for your reading. So let me put this up here. Let's dive in, shall we? I would like to invite the angels, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, protectors, teachers, and their healing energy to this space, and I ask that it is a safe and brave space that allows for the fullest expression of our light, humanity, ascension, and healing. Okay, so let's see where we go here and what's up. Spirit, what messages do you have for my Aqua fam? My Aqua babies. Aqua babies? Aqua family. What they need to nurture. What to nurture. Five of Wands. Interesting. You're kind of showing up right out of the gate here in this like conflicted energy. This is depicted more as training than not, though. So you could be kind of establishing something for yourself. Like you could be establishing a training routine. This could be fitness related. I mean, depends on what it is clarified by. If the Hermit comes out, maybe. But as it stands right now, it's just the Five of Wands. So let's see. Spirit, what messages do you have for Aquarius? Three of Wands, Page of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. I heard the word sally forth on this one. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I speak like I'm 800 years old. But here we are. So I think that you're embracing this kind of this training, but you might also be yeah, I feel like this is preparation. Like you're preparing for something here and you're embracing the positive expectation of success because you've done the work. Like this is what's happening in the background that people can't see. And that's why you're feeling a little bit confident, not cocky, absolutely confident. You're feeling quite confident in your skills and your abilities. I think that the one thing it's saying to release here, I think that it's releasing the idea of you showing up as a page. Or alternatively, this can be releasing, like if this shows up kind of in reverse, but I'm getting this as like an overflow. Like if you put too much emotion into your work right now, and this, I mean, Aquarians may not, we get a bad rap of being like the unfeeling ones, but like we have so many emotions. And I can say, the times where this means like, being too sensitive, like overly sensitive to feedback, to criticism, to anything like that. And then this is just about releasing this. Don't be, overly sensitive, but also don't let it make you insensitive either, right? There's this balance between, but it's just about not letting everything that people say or do get to you or hurt you or stuff like that, because I get the impression that people might be like the reason why this would come up in the release in that energy is that people might be trying to, but I think you being focused on this energy for you right now is perfect, because you're going to know what to act on and what not to act on. How the light gets in is through this energy of it's like an energy of knowing what to do next and not being afraid to take action. It's like taking action steps, not being afraid to take leaps. So I think that that's really important here. And also, like, you're putting in a lot of work here. Like the Five of Wands, in the way that it's showing up in this deck in particular, is one of training. So I think it's very appropriate. And it could just be like your training. So the flip side of that is that you could be feeling the energy of conflict. You could be feeling that around you right now. And I think it's just, it's in your best interest to just stay focused on the positive, right? You can only control so many wands. You can only handle so much. Like there's a circle of responsibility, right? This is your responsibility. This is not your responsibility. Remembering what's yours and doing that as best you can, and leaning into that energy, because that's really like, that's spirit saying like, this is, that's your stability and your expansion. I'm putting that on that because that's profound energy. I feel like this is the best. It's not just about doing your best. It's not just about that. It's about expecting your best because you know that you are going to give that every single time, right? When I was in grad school, I would be in the library for hours, and then I would go to work, and I would bring, like, I would have I would have bags of meals with me because I would just sit there all day studying, right? I didn't get a BA, so I went right into a master's program. I just read like a fiend. And one of the things that I promised myself was that as much as I might have felt out of place and I felt an imposter syndrome about being there because I didn't have the education, I just really liked the program and what I was interested in studying. So I was like, no, you know what? This is, I am going to be the one. I don't care what people say. I am going to work the hardest. Like it's like that idea, and not like in a shadow sense, but like you work the hardest because you know that that's what you're in control of. You can't control how other people see you. You can't control what other people believe about you. You can't control what they say or what they do, their ideas. The only thing that you can control, and I have it up on my wall, I will pull it down just to show you, because this comes into play a lot of the time, right? When you do things that scare the crap out of you, which I have a tendency to do a lot, this is that circle of responsibility. This is my responsibility. This is not. This is yours. I will read it. My words, my behavior, my actions, my efforts, my mistakes, my ideas, and the consequences of my actions. Everything else is just noise. And I feel like it's really important for you to know that right now. I have that right above my desk just so that I can remember it. Not because it's like there's conflict around, but just it's a helpful reminder so that when it comes down to what about this is making me feel anxious, what about this is making me feel nervous, because then you can place it and you can say, whoa, that's not a me problem. That's not a me problem. This part of it is a me problem, but that's not a me problem. So it's really about defining those boundaries here. And I get that sense. If someone were to say, well, that's a conflict card, that's how I'm seeing the conflict come through. It's because you're training, right? You're putting your, I guess, your actions where your intentions are, and it's working for you, Aquarius. It's working, right? There's a sense of stability and expansion that's coming in because you're able to focus on the positives. You're able to focus on what's yours, and it's also knowing that, like, it's not about, being like, my ships are coming in and I'm so important. It's not like that. It's like you set them out to sail, and then you were doing things on, like, in between when they were out on the water, and now they're coming back in. 10 of Pentacles on the bottom on this 5 of Wands. Yeah, this is like a long-term investment, and I think that you're kind of charging ahead, and pretty fearlessly too. Yeah, 5 of Wands and the 10 of Swords. I feel like the conflict that you might, if there is conflict here, because this strikes me as more of the conflict side, right? If there is an element of conflict here, I feel like you are releasing the conflict, and it's turning into lessons for you to take with you, so that the pain and experiences that you have a deep purpose and are meaningful in this context. So I think it's what it's allowing you to understand about yourself, but you're taking it and integrating it in your best and highest good, which is brilliant. So this is where it's like you're gathering information from it. You're taking information. You're relying on your intuition. There's a sense that you're not letting things distract you either, right? This is sort of being very balanced. And I almost see this as a training exercise in terms of some kind of, like, if you're looking at like slow movements to do with Tai Chi. And like I read once that if you want to build muscle, you do... and this has probably been debunked a million times by a million different people, so whatever, that's fine. Every year there's a new fitness book that comes out with different information. So I read once that if you do like slow movements, it can tax your muscles more. Like it can develop them more, not in a bodybuilding sense, but it just connects you to them more when you do slow workout movements. So you're not doing a bicep curl, right? You're not doing a curl quickly. You're doing it very slowly and very intentionally. And that's where I get this like slow intentional action, where you're taking in information. I think this is less of indecision for you right now, Aquarius. And I think this is more about you taking in the information, so that you have all the facts that you need, because a positive perspective doesn't just happen. And that's your confidence. This is why you need to be confident about what you're doing. This is why you need to be sure about what you're doing, because you're going about it in a way that is very smart, very wise, or in keeping with Aquarian energy at least. So this 3 of Wands, 4 of Wands wheel, Jupiter energy, and that is 9th house and Sagittarius. Two of Cups and Ten of Cups. Are you kidding me, Spirit? Okay. So I think this is, if we were to just look at this energy that you're embracing is one of relationship and connection to others. In the context of this conflict, you might have just been trying to connect with people that weren't your people. And you're like, it's like trying to smash a square piece into a round hole, and it's not going to work, right? It's just not going to work. So instead of doing that, you wanted something that was the Ten of Pentacles, and you still have that as your goal, which is excellent. This energy here is progressing forward. And then the storyline of what you're embracing is the positive expectation. This is a knowing. This strikes me as a little bit connected to the High Priestess in terms of its knowing capacity. And this is also relying on your intuition. So I feel like there's a little bit of, a lot of a knowing here. But it's like when you take certain steps and certain actions in service to whatever it is that you're working on or want to do, it's like the universe conspires to make shit happen with you. In a big way. When you take those action steps, even if they're the ones that you're like, and then you like tweak and then tweak and then tweak and then tweak. Atomic Habits, that whole book is like change things by 1%, micro changes, right? You just do little by little by little by little, and you get there. Big picture eventually comes together. And I think that's what happens here is like little by little, right? This stability starts to establish itself for you. 1111 on the 1111 card. Whoa. So this could be related to twin flame for some of you. But if this is a relationship more than just your process and something to do with work, I feel like this is you stepping into a more stable place and away from conflict, right? This Five of Wands strikes me as like drama competition, just like taking a step back from that and being like, forget it, and just no, and just pulling back, right? Pulling back. And I think that that's sort of, you're relying more on, a slow gathering of information. The Ten of Swords here is like putting an end to that drama because the Ten of Pentacles can't really entertain it, right? It's different energy. So the Ten of Pentacles is really like taking a step towards something that means a lot to you. It is a kind of investment for you, right? Like you can't invest in something long term on the basis of drama. What does drama mean? We tend to think of drama as in like intensity and whatnot, but drama can manifest in this context in terms of like many options or feeling pulled in different directions at work, for example. Or if you have like too many projects on the go, it's hard. Like you keep yourself suspended in this state of trying to complete things, and you don't really get the chance to. Because you're kind of stuck in this place where you're like, you can't really invest in that Ten of Pentacles. You can't really do it. You just can't do it. You can't do it because your energy is occupied putting out all these little fires that don't mean anything. And sometimes we absorb the energy of the environment that we're around as well, right? So keep that in mind too, where it's like, I found that when I worked retail, and there's nothing maligning retail, I loved working at a bookstore, but around Christmas time, it would be chaos. Like there would be times where I would get home at that time of year and I would literally just need to sit and stare at a wall for my brain to decompress because I was just going, right? Like you have to, do all the things, help all the people, bring all of the people through cash. Like you're going all the time for your whole 8-hour shift, right? Whole shift. So it was that energy. So it was hard for me to relax fully until I had a couple of days off, which would be sometime in January towards the end of the month, right? So it's like when you're in that place and in that pace, sometimes you can absorb the chaos of that environment. So just as an aside, right? Thankfully, I work in a much more peaceful environment now, so it's slightly different. But that energy can follow you a little bit. So it's like thinking and asking questions that will bring you closer to the Ten of Pentacles. If you're in a Ten of Pentacles, what kinds of questions would you ask of your younger self? What advice would you give your younger self? Okay? Think about this. In the Ten of Pentacles, you would give your younger self that advice, and then reverse engineer the advice into the question that you need to ask yourself right now about what you're doing to get to where you need to go. It's a weird way of thinking about things, but that's what I sometimes do. So this Page of Cups, Spirit, what message do you have for My Aquarians on this Page of Cups with this burning question, please. Page of Cups and oversensitive. Yeah, there's like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that are going to kind of tempt you to feel maybe not bad about yourself, because nobody can make you feel bad. But it's just like, I feel like people, this strikes me as like, you know, a little bit of like pettiness or swipes that people take. This is also another kind of drama, but this is the internal one. This is the messages that you tell yourself at night when you go to sleep, because like this is the conflict, and this is what it does internally when you go home at night and you go to sleep, right? Like you're with yourself only and you quiet your mind, and it's really hard to stay present. Those stories are here, right? That's what you need to release, is the stories that you absorb based on the environment that you're in, the energy that's there, all of that. So, Spirit, what messages do you have for Aquarius for this releasing energy? Seven of Swords. Yeah, this is like crappy energy, like people taking from you. And I think that when we're feeling oversensitive, or like when we're in our sensitivity in times where we need to be in our boundaries, what we can do is take these behaviors personally. Like, oh, they took because it had something to do with me. No, it didn't have anything to do with you. It had everything to do with them. Circle of responsibility, right? That's why I keep it up on my wall. I have like all these little post-it notes of things, but also I have like sayings and things right over on behind the camera. It says, I am in charge of how I feel today, I'm in charge of how I feel, and today I am choosing happiness, right? I'll show you here. I don't think it'll let me do it. I have to stop recording, but it's there. So I have things like that to remind me. And I think the circle of responsibility is a great thing to remember here, right? Like, who's taking from you and why? Who's taking from you and why? And also, like, why does it matter to you? And does it matter because it's something that's being taken from you? Or is it because the boundaries that you needed to have in place weren't there, and you're hurt because of that? And then you need to grieve what they did as a kind of betrayal. You need to grieve what happened there. But then you also have to address your own emotions as well about that thing, so that you can then manage yourself and regulate yourself better. Right? The Fool and the Magician. Yeah, I feel like this is what's helping you. Like, it's not about detaching from your sensitivity and becoming like some hardened person. This is really about using your manifesting powers to communicate what's most important to you, so that you can take the leaps when people knock. And you can recognize the right knock when it comes, right? That's the key here. That's the key. And I think that's the key that you're unlocking for yourself. And you have everything you need, right? It's not that these aren't cold energies at all. These are actually really warm energies. The Magician has to be in touch with their why in order to manifest stuff. They have to be deeply in touch with their emotions. They're right there, that cup. Right there. And then the Fool, like, they have a really loyal companion in this little pepperoni right here. So they are also very connected. They are also deeply aware. So I think it's also about understanding that, like, the way you communicate and what information you take in, this is also just an aside, the information that you take in this sensitivity, right? And this isn't, I'm not maligning it, because like before we had words for empaths, I was like all over that Elaine Aron book, The Highly Sensitive Person. Like, I was like, oh my God, it's me, right? This was like, I had just gotten out of, I had to leave university. So I had just left, and that book, I started to read it and I found it so helpful, because I was like, oh my gosh, so much is I am seeing myself in these pages. Oh my goodness. Right. So it's like, sensitivity isn't wrong. It's just that some people will see that and be attracted to that, because they know that when you're not operating from a place that's aware of your circle of responsibility, your circles of responsibility, they can get you to do things that you wouldn't normally do. They can take from you. It's like you become a resource. You become a tool for them to get what they want, as opposed to seeing you as a source of light that unto yourself is whole and complete, that is worthy of nourishment, that is worthy of care. So it's just a realignment of understanding that it doesn't make you weak. It can make you very vulnerable if you're not aware of how your sensitivity can attract people, right? That's the dance of the empath and the narcissist. I'm hesitant to use the word narcissist, because freaking everybody, you don't like people, so they become a narcissist, and that's just not how it works. Like, I've encountered quite a few, and it's a very dangerous dynamic, because it can really drain you, right? It can really drain you. But nonetheless, the things that you're taking in information about that, in your sensitivity, these stories that you're hearing about yourself, that you're seeing mirrored back to you, because these are also beliefs that you might hold about yourself too. And that's why this is mirroring back to you in this way, to heal those stories so that they do not become entry points in your energy fields for people to come in and hook in and say, I can validate that. I can validate you in that pain. I can validate you and make you feel like that's not true. And that becomes how people kind of get in and start to pull at your energy, right? I don't know if this is making sense, Aquarius. This is just shit that I've had to heal from and do on my own. So I can see it. Not necessarily from a mile away, but I can certainly see it once it starts, right? So I'm sharing this as info. But those stories that you tell yourself, that's also, it affects your manifestations. Because if you don't believe, so if you believe in the stories that you're told, if you believe in the stories about yourself that are that of unworthiness or undeserving, if you're in that place, your manifestations start to take on the same character and color of those beliefs too, and that twists even the best manifestations that you could have coming. It sort of contorts them into this position that's very it's not great, because then you start to manifest from a place of unworthiness. So you get like a piece of the thing that you really wanted, or an aspect of the peace of mind that you really wanted, but because there's still that other part that believes that you don't deserve it, it doesn't fully come through. So then you doubt your manifesting powers, you doubt your worthiness even more, which only like anchors the thing instead of uprooting it. So it's like finding places of peace that you can go to, Aquarius, that are going to help you uproot those beliefs that you have that of unworthiness and undeserving. So, and this Knight of Wands, Spirit, what messages do you have for Aquarius on this Knight of Wands? This is kind of how the light gets in, like knowing what needs to be done and doing it with passion and panache that is very much you. You could have some fire in your chart because of the number of wands here as well. Whoa, that wanted to come out. High Priestess. Intuition's going to be your best friend right now, Aquarius, right? All signs have an intuitive capacity about them, but I find that Aquarians have this big picture view, and I'm not just saying this because I am one. I know the energy because of that. That's how I know. But it's like this big picture capacity that connects dots that others may not be able to see, right? That's where this positive expectation thing can come in too. But I think that this is about this intuitive capacity that you have wherever Aquarius is in your chart, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus, or otherwise, right? Sometimes I watch readings, my North Node in Aries, it speaks to that. So I think this Knight of Wands is like how the light gets in, which is, it's very fast moving energy, but this is where your intuition will be playing a big role, because what to do next, you're going to need to be connected to your intuition in order to have a very solid grasp of that. And it's not that you won't know, it's not like your intuition or else. It's not like that at all. It's just that your intuition can sweeten the deal. Your intuition can sweeten the deal and make you feel more cared for than you realize, right? That's where you get songs that come on the radio, or songs that, you hear about and you're like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And it just sweetens the deal, because you're like, man, the universe loved me that much, Spirit loves me that much, that it orchestrated all of this stuff for me to know myself as loved through a song on the radio, through seeing a number alignment, through overhearing a conversation that answers the exact question I was carrying with me that day. A friend that calls just to ask how I'm doing when I'm feeling down. Like, all of these things are orchestrated, and the reason why is because you are so freaking loved and cared for by Spirit that what if it orchestrated all of this just to make you smile? Like something that simple, just to sweeten the deal for you. To sweeten the deal of your everyday, Aquarius. Like, how beautiful is that energy? How beautiful is that? So, something to think about. So this High Priestess card. And that's the energy that informs the positive expectation, because the conflict is just noise. It's literally just noise. Let the noise be noise. Let it be noise somewhere else, right? You've got bigger things to do here, obviously. Jupiter doesn't show up because it's not incidental. Jupiter shows up because there's big things on your path, right? There's big things on your path. So staying connected to that. And I mean, for me, whenever I've faced conflict before, I've been like, how in alignment am I right now with serving others? Like, am I in alignment with helping others, or am I like sticking? Am I stuck in that energy because I'm keeping everything to myself and I have a different perspective than the one that I know is fundamental to the core of my being, right? So being in service and of service to others is a really big deal to me. It's like kind of my bread and butter. Yeah. If it's not helping other people, what is it for, right? What is it for? So, and not everyone has to feel that way about things. It's just, I feel like with my life and my life experience, that's kind of where I come from with these things. So I think something to keep an eye out for as to where the light gets in. This can be kind of focusing a little bit on the negatives. Again, that like sensitivity. This can just, I think this is more a reminder from spirit, just a reminder that if they do creep in, just to keep a lookout. So you can tell when things get locked in your energy, because it, like, you start to look less on the bright side. You start to see fewer silver linings. You start to anticipate worst case scenarios. You start to think closer about all of the bad things that can happen. This isn't to say eschew realism or eschew wishful thinking or manifesting for soul realism and what is it. That's not what I'm suggesting either. There's a balance. There's a balance between the two. So that balance is what's really important to pay attention to, in just the very subtle ways. And energy is so subtle. So is intuition. Intuition's just as subtle. So it's also about like what's louder, fear or intuition. Because that will determine what choices you make. You're going to choose love or you're going to choose fear. One is profoundly more subtle than the other. So it's also about fine-tuning your ears so that you're not hanging on to these things, right? You're not hanging on, and this is fear, right? This is fear. These are the ways fear shows up. We look down instead of up and around at the doors around us. Or we're looking down instead of up. This is, we hang on to things because we're afraid that this is the best thing that's ever going to come along or come around or hang around, right? So those are the ways that fear can show up a little bit, and it can block us because it's so subtle how it happens. Sometimes it can just be thinking about, something that happened where you had to, it's like replaying the day's events and replaying one specific event. You know what I'm talking about, where you like get home and then you're like in the shower and you're like, damn it, that's the best line. I should have said that in that conflict, right? It's being very conscious about your thoughts right now as well, Aquarius. Being very conscious of your thoughts. Because that's going to help keep the channels clear. And I don't know if this was obvious to you or not, but you're very cared for by spirit. So keeping that in mind. 3 of Cups. Yeah, this is celebration. This is like your guides coming together. These are people. This is people coming together. You're like friend groups. You're being celebrated right now and sinking into the energy of celebration. If not literal celebration, then like sinking into the energy of celebration, that celebratory energy. What does that feel like? What does it feel like when your heart sings in concert with others, What does that feel like for you? And how does that resonate with your heartstrings and then resonate with that of others and others and others and others? How does it all sing together for you? Yeah, this is more fear. 5s. Like 5 of Cups, right? This is the fear. Fear of disappointment. These are the disappointments that have happened before. You're going to focus on those. You're going to focus on all the bad things that could happen, all the ways that you kind of left like with a bit of a bruised ego from situations before. You can if you want to. It might make you feel more fearful and hang on to things though. So this is like compelling questions that spirit is trying to get you to ask yourself right now. You do have helpers. You do have help. So it's just asking the right questions, because it's not about getting the perfect answer. That's not the goal. Getting an answer that honors where you want to go, where you've been, and what it is that you're manifesting. 9 of Pentacles on the bottom. 9 of Pentacles on the bottom. Yeah, Aquarius. I feel like you're going to be just fine. I feel like whatever's happening right now, you're going to be coming out of it really, really well. And if there's no conflict and this is just you training, you're doing so much work. You're doing so much to elevate yourself, right? Like I wish I could give that, the version of me that walked into the library at school, this like massive, like it was very concrete and just, sinking into these like chairs with lime green carpeting between the bookshelves and all of that stuff, and just feeling completely out of my depth. If that's how you're feeling right now, I'm sending you hugs and love, my friends, because I feel like there's going to be ways that it all turns out better than you think. But again, the way you think is really important too. So turning out better than you think, I mean, you better be thinking great because it's here. You better be thinking great because it's here, especially in relationship too. Like, you've got the 10 of Pentacles, the 2 of Cups, the 10 of Cups, the 4 of Wands, and I saw 1111 on the time at the same time as I had the 1111 card up. So, like, there's something coming your way. If you're not looking for relationships, that's certainly a depth of commitment. So it could be engagement, could be marriage coming your way. High Priestess is here as well. 9 of Pentacles, Magician. Like, it's not impossible. Okay, Spirit, what messages do you have for my Aquarians to close out this reading, please, and thank you. Honor thyself. Yes, that's these thoughts, right? These fear thoughts. Honor yourself. The way other people manifest is their business. The way you manifest is yours, and focus on what you can control. I was listening to this little motivational speech by David Goggins. That guy's hilarious to me. But if you, he was talking about, like, you have to start the day on a way that it, like, puts it in your control. Do you make your bed? Do you get up on time? What do you hit snooze on the alarm? How are you making your day winnable from the get-go and making it something, like, you have to start winning so that no matter what happens, you're starting your day off with little things that put you in the driver's seat, for your day, right? This isn't about taking control from other people. This is about looking at what is your responsibility and what you can control, and focusing so much on those and making those your best bet and your best friend in service to yourself, right? No two flowers are the same, yet all are beautiful in their own way. Yeah, you're standing out right now. There's a strength card here. Like, there's Leo energy here. You're, zodiacal hallmate across the hall from you. I'm getting the impression that, like, comparing yourself to others, don't bother, because everyone brings their own thing to the table and everyone deserves to be celebrated for what they bring. And if people are acting in weird ways, like, I don't know why this is coming out. Like, I really don't, but I feel like if people are getting weird or funky about stuff like that, they can't see their own light, but it's not your job to find it for them. Let me take this off the wall and show you again. Even in this instance, there's only so much that fits in the middle. You have to fit in the middle, because this is what you can control, right? It's what you can control. Do you see why I have this up here? Because it's so damn handy just to remind myself. I don't use it as much as I did when I was in grad school, but I've kept it since then because it's still a good reminder. I just had no time when I was in grad school, so it was like, what is my responsibility and what is not? And it really was a great time to learn and to see my own, like, doing things for other people in an unhealthy way behaviors, like, right? Because you see it very clearly. So, Spirit, what messages do you have for Aquarius to close out this reading, please? Thank you so much. What we need to nurture. I surrender my desires, and I know the universe has my back. Yeah, sometimes, and this is part of positive expectation, right? This is part of positive expectation. That quote by Seneca, success is when preparation meets opportunity. Preparation, meeting opportunity. I feel like it's happening for you, Aquarius. The cards are foretelling it. What else, Spirit? This one. I measure my success by how much fun I'm having. Yes, that's some Leo energy. Don't forget to have fun. If you're in this, like, 5 of Wands training energy, do not forget to have fun. That makes your manifestation so much sweeter. Oh my gosh, so much sweeter. So, Aquarius, that was your reading. If this resonated, please like and subscribe. It helps me to grow this channel, and I am very grateful to have you here, so thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it a great deal. If you can check out other stuff on the channel, so please do. If this resonated and you're like, hey, this channel seems quite dandy, well, you're dandy, and I would like to have that here. So do subscribe if you're so inclined. But if this is where we part, Aquarius, I hope that wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, it finds you very, very well. Take care, my darlings. Bye.